This was the week where we saw minority rule up close and personal in the state of Tennessee. As Republican-led legislature expelled 2 members, that means remove them. Initially, I was like, expelled just for the moment. No, removed from their positions because they helped lead a protest for gun control after the Covenant School mass shooting, which killed 6 people, 3 9-year-old children. And that wasn't the crime. No. The crime was protesting that and arguing and protesting for gun control. So they, Republican state legislature are going to do what a Republican state legislature will do. And on separate votes last Thursday, they supermajority expelled Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, a move that left 140,000 voters in primarily black districts in Nashville and Memphis with no representation in the House. They were expelled for in retaliation for their role in the protest the week before that unfolded in the aftermath of the school shooting. Of course, a third Democrat, Representative Gloria Johnson of Knoxville, was spared expulsion by a 1-vote margin. Johnson is white, spurring outcry at the differing outcomes for the 2 young black lawmakers. Republican lawmakers who split their votes have cited Johnson's points on the floor that her role in the protest was lesser. She didn't speak into the megaphone, for example. Ooh, I wonder what that sounded like. And we'll hear that. There are some updates on this story, but first let's see the kind of, the kind of speaking that these representatives felt so afraid of. Here is Representative Justin Pearson speaking to, I believe this is before he was expelled. I believe this is during the protest, but it's during the massive Capitol protest. If you guys saw that last week. And here he is, and I believe he's starting off. It clips in a little bit, but he starts talking about how politicians are bought and sold by the NRA. And take a look.
National Rifle Association and all of these gun lobbyists continue to be able to have control over our legislation. What's going through my mind right now is we need to fight for democracy in the state of Tennessee, and we need people not only just to vote, but people to show up and speak out so that we can end the gun violence epidemic that's happening in our state. This is wrong, this is unjust, and this is not the way that it has to be. There is a better way for us to live, and we don't have to live this way. But the Republican Party of the state of Tennessee want to keep things the same. If you want to fight to change it, if you want to help to make this place a better place, you have to use your voice, you have to use your power, and yes, sometimes you've got to get expelled.
So that is after he was expelled. Sometimes you've got to get expelled. Now, if I were a Republican, I'd be afraid of that too, because that is an incredibly powerful and just galvanizing speaker. Like that representative, he's gonna start some shit, and he's going to lead people, and we can't have black leaders in this country. Mike, your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, I think that there's multiple reasons why they were expelled, right? One is obviously racism, because out of 3 lawmakers, the 2 black ones were expelled, but the white one wasn't. Trying to do the math here. Second of all, this was a real threat to their power. Thousands and thousands of Gen Z activists, they marched to the Capitol demanding action, and those 3 lawmakers stood in solidarity with the activists. They have a supermajority, but they're not infallible. And so they saw this threat to their power, and they thought, how do we get rid of it? And that's what they did. So this just demonstrates that the GOP, they don't actually care about democracy. They are literally calling this an insurrection. In fact, the Republican speaker said that this was tantamount to insurrection, what they did, by basically going to the podium and saying, yeah, we agree we should have gun control effectively. So they know what they're doing is wrong, and they're shameless. There's actually a video that Justin Jones shared on Twitter where he was filming the chants from the activists, and his Republican colleague actually assaulted him on camera, and he posted it to Twitter. So they are shameless, they're brazen, and they will make sure that they eliminate any threat to their power. But unfortunately for them, I think that this is going to backfire, because they made these 2 men national figures. And now when they come back, which they will come back, I think that Justin Jones was already reinstated. They're going to be much more powerful than ever and have a bigger platform than they did. So unfortunately for the Republicans, they're in the finding out phase after fucking around, I think.
Absolutely. A couple things to pick up on there. Yes, Justin Jones was reinstated. I want to go to a clip of him in a second. That was, in the city of Memphis. They could have actually held like a month-long nomination period. This is according to NBC, but instead, the city council in Nashville just completely voted unanimously to reinstate him immediately, which is good to know that's. I mean, can you go back? Can you expel him again? The craziest part about this, and this is something that you mentioned, Mike, is okay. So Tennessee legislature has expelled people before, I believe, for sexual misconduct and defending slavery after the Civil War. So definitely on par with trying not to get shot in a school. But the Republicans expelled them based on the Capitol riots, the calling it an insurrection and invoking January 6th. They invoked January 6th to say that this was a violation of their rules. I can't, like, oh my God, the hypocrisy. Like, it's like they learned the word insurrection and now they're using it. Oh, I know what'll justify it. Like, the folks have no understanding of their own hypocrisy. It's like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. It truly is that moment. Anyway, that's why they expelled them, but Justin Jones been reinstated. Here's the Justin Jones before he right before he was expelled. Again, Jones, who was assaulted when he was trying to film the protesters.
So today we are brought to here where members are responding in the most extreme measure, not because of what we did, but because by breaking decorum, we broke the glass of your false power for the world to see. We broke the glass of this chamber that someone called sacred. One of the members on the other side of the aisle was in tears and said, "I've never seen such a breach of this sacred chamber." And I thought to myself, that representative has obviously never read history. But for so long, this body, drunk with power, has modeled for the world what we know as nothing less than authoritarianism. And today is the climax of that behavior. That a week after a mass shooting plagued our community, the most direct action this legislative body takes, or should I say my colleagues on the other side of the aisle are taking, is to expel us for speaking about the issues of weapons of war on our streets.
So again, another incredibly powerful speaker and leader, and calling him out basically on what we just said, right? We shattered the ceiling, we shattered your false sense of power, because there's more of us, and they should be scared. So there you have it. And I again, in terms of the national figures, like this is not going anywhere. And the fact that like every single one of those young folks that came out around, talk about an apolitical issue, talk about wanting to live, not wanting to have weapons of war in schools or in civilian hands. There's always a moment, I think, for everyone who's like an activist or who works around these issues, or an organizer, or someone who dedicates their life to this stuff, which is like, hey, how'd you get politicized? It's kind of like it's an icebreaker for us lefties. How'd you get politicized? And I think, in my feelings when I saw what happened in Ferguson around the protests surrounding Mike Brown's murder, when they sent fucking tanks, I was like, oh, you just galvanized a whole generation around like civil rights and against police. Same shit here. Oh, you expelled the two young Black leaders from this over this protest for gun control. You gave these young people reason. They were fine, just chilling on like, I'm like trying to think what's the video game where you get turnips and stuff. They were over there on like
Animal Crossing.
They were on Animal Crossing. I'm I'm such a boomer. That's such a boomer like thing to say.
Well, I'm such a nerd. I love how I know that immediately. Animal Crossing.
No, I mean, who else dabbles in turnips? But I'm like, they were there on Animal Crossing. They're chilling. They're like, trying to bring back low-cut jeans, like low-rise jeans. Like the kids are doing other things, not sex apparently, but they're vaping and stuff. And like, you just gave them a reason to fucking fight, and
Yeah.
I think that this will absolutely go down as a moment where we're gonna remember and reference for a long time, and I hope it continues, and also just shows you how fucking backwards a place like Tennessee can be. Like, don't you feel like even like for these southern states, I love in California, like at least we have like the optics of like, hey, don't expel the 2 young black, legislators because it looks racist. Whereas like in the South, they don't even have those optics. Even if it's not, even if we like are, power hungry and legislators here like suck. Like for the optics, they won't do it. There, they're like, what? Did we do something wrong? What? Like who? You know what I mean? Like they were acting up. They were, they were being hooligans.
They were thinking about optics for sure, but it was like, well, hang on, we can't expel the white one because then people might think that we're not racist. So that's their discussion on optics.
Right, exactly. Well, the white lady didn't do nothing. You're like, that's totally true. You're just like, no, don't you see how this looks?
Yeah.
And this is again, these are like, and then you remember like how that we've gutted the Voting Rights Act, applied to Tennessee, and like this is the level, the fuckery that happens at the state level, everybody. Like that's where it's all going down. That is this kind of bullshit is where it's all going down, around gun control, around abortion rights, around, trans rights. All this stuff is happening at the state level.
Yeah. And let me just remind everyone that a month prior, we were talking about Tennessee specifically because they were the state that enacted a really harsh ban on drag performances. And their governor was found to be in drag in high school. Their lieutenant governor was sexting with a young twink. So like they got all their priorities straight for sure in Tennessee and these red states. They're focused on the real issues.
I forgot. We covered this story so heartily, but I think I have like Southern state blindness where I sort of like meld them all together.
They blend in, yeah.
Which is it's wrong on me. And if you are here from the South, howdy, and I don't think that's a thing. But you know what I'm saying? I was like, but you're right. You're right. What is his name? He's got a great name. The lieutenant governor. Like,
Randy something, right?
Randy McNally or something
McNally.
like that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give him some encouragement because he had a nice body. And
it's such a great story because you have this like 99-year-old grandfather posting fire emojis to twink bussy pics, and it's like, what is happening in this world? Like, what we need Jesus.
No, honestly, meanwhile, like drag shows are being banned. Like, come on, you can't ban horny. First of all, drag shows aren't necessarily horny. They're like, it's something people don't understand. I think that's the other thing. Like, just watch some Drag Race. Just go to a drag show. No one's fucking. That's not the, like, learn about it a little bit. Maybe if we understood like queer history and like queer performance a little bit better, you'd be less scared of it. No? We don't want to. Okay.
That's the thought of learning is scary itself. So, it's a bit of a, it's a big ask.
Ooh, huge ask. Yeah. Anyway, I'm like sending so much love to everyone who went out in Tennessee, and very excited to see what happens with Pearson and Jones, and I hope they continue to honestly stay in office and fight on that statewide level, because clearly we need them. And I'm very excited to see what happens with Randy McNally, to be totally honest with you. Like,
same.
I feel like he needs to live his truth. I'm excited for that truth to come out. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do it.